Is Mayor Mark already here?
Yep.
Mark, you want to come up and say a few words? Okay.
Just a few words, that's all you want me to say?
Yeah. We have great players.
Good evening is a few words. First of all, thank you for having me here tonight. This is a great turnout. I'd just like to take a quick moment to tell you a little bit about who I am. I am the mayor of the city of Shelton, and I have been for the last 23 years. I just won my 12th election. Over the course of that time, I've had the opportunity to interact with 4 different governors and 4 presidents to some extent. And what I mean by that is that when you're at my level, you become the recipient of all of the legislation, all of the programs, and all the regulations that get passed either at the state legislature or through the Congress, and you have to deal with it. Well, I learned early on that I could not operate in my little domain as they did, so I had to do things differently. And I did. In fact, if you live in Shelton now, you would have seen your residential property taxes going down by 3.8%. It's gone down since 2009. We have tax stability in our community. I know it's hard to believe in Connecticut, but we have it. And as I stand here tonight, I can tell you that I have 22 balanced budgets and 22 budget surpluses. Now, some people would say, Mayor, the law requires you to do that. And to some extent, they would be right. But let's look around and see who's doing it. Certainly not the state or the federal government. I could also tell you that our pensions were 100% funded, and that we have a sizable fund balance. At the state, they call it a rainy day fund. But we didn't get that way because we had one-time revenues that we put into the budget, or we borrowed money to balance our operating budget and pay for our bills, and then, oh, by the way, didn't spend it and called it a surplus. That is very wrong. You can't get away with things like that at our level, and consequently, we don't. So we don't even try. I could also tell you that there are 1,500 businesses that reside in the city of Shelton, and on any given day, 23 to 25,000 people commute into our community. And we become an employment hub. Unlike the state of Connecticut, where businesses are leaving and jobs are going, we continue to grow. And I didn't accomplish that because we gave tax incentives, or we picked winners and losers. In fact, I haven't given one tax incentive to anybody. We give them good government, and we give them affordable government. Unlike the state of Connecticut. Can you imagine that the governor gave the richest hedge fund in the world $115 million to move from Westport to Stamford, when their CEO made $2 billion last year? It is just unfathomable that we have evolved to that point where we're picking winners and losers. And so the reason I mention these things is because for me to be successful and for me to grow my community, I can't operate like that. We have to level the playing field for everybody. My philosophy is that if you lower the cost of doing business in your community and your state, then everybody becomes a recipient of that. Every resident, every taxpayer, every business owner. And so that's what I sought to do 22 years ago. And I want to tell you, as I stand here tonight, it's working in fine fashion. And if you don't believe me, Bloomberg's Business Week magazine, a national publication, tabbed Shelton in 2008 and 2009 as Connecticut's most affordable city. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you.
Oh boy. Thanks, Joan and Karen, for having this event tonight. Great turnout. I want to point somebody out tonight. Somebody I caucused with a long time from West Hartford. Justin Clark. As the town councilor in West Hartford, Justin and I worked pretty hard fighting the Democrats in West Hartford for a lot of years. It's a very liberal town. I ran for Congress in '08. It was a hard year to be a Republican. The wind's at our back this year, and I want to tell you that I've been in the race for 10 months. I got in the race April 4th, 2013, the day the governor was signing the gun bill. I signed up to run all in. I'm not taking state grant money. I'm running on my own with the money that we raise off the out of the field. And we're doing good. We're living off the land, and I built up a huge following over the last 10 months of grassroots support for the Second Amendment. I carry a gun. I'm a Tea Party activist. I'm a national Republican candidate. Somebody who follows the Republican platform nationally. I think I may be the only one that's full Republican in the race. I say that because I've been on the field for 10 months working across the state, talking to tens of thousands of people. I've interviewed more Democrats than Republicans, and I have to tell you, we're going to win this race. I know from the experience I've had on the street that people are so fed up. I have more Democrat support today than I do Republican. That's not saying a lot of bad about the Republican Party, but the Democrats are so engaged and they're so angry. I'm a working man, I'm a contractor. I was raised with a hammer in my hand. My dad brought me up as a Marine. I was raised out here in Tallinn, Connecticut, before we moved back to the city. Yeah, Baxter Street, Anderson Road, so I'm a nature boy. I lived in the woods as a kid. But I want to tell you a few things that I have. I don't have a lot of time, but a few ideas that I have that we've been putting on the campaign trail. One of them is, and this is feedback from the public, taxation, tax reform is just unbelievably needed. Everyone is moving out of state, as you know. So we're looking at phasing out the inheritance tax is something that's very important. Also for children, we're looking, my two kids live in New York City, 2 out of 3. They got jobs there after college, and we want to give an incentive for kids that graduate from college, no matter what university they go to stay in Connecticut, 4-year tax break on income tax because we're losing them at a certain percentage. So those are 2 ideas on tax reform. Common Core, tomorrow, I'll be you'll see my website on my brochures on your table. I'll be live streaming a Common Core seminar statewide. That's going to be a game changer for us. Common Core, I can't get into it here right now, but if you'd like to tune in, you can see it live stream tomorrow from Portland Senior Center. If you can make it, show up down there. And the third thing I think that's a game changer is going to be the Second Amendment. More Democrats than you know are outraged. They're one-issue voters. They're coming out. So we don't have a lot of time, and I'm getting pressed over here, but thank you very much.
I'm not armed, so, but I appreciate not getting tackled off the stage. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Justin Clark. I'm Tom Foley's campaign manager, and I was his campaign manager in 2010. And I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of him, and I won't get too far into it, into details and things like that, but I just wanted to come out and represent Tom here tonight. And one of the most interesting things since 2010 to 2014 is you hear a lot of people talking about politics, talking about the governor, talking about elections. And you know, I have never heard anybody say, boy, I really regret voting for Tom Foley. I hear a lot of people say, boy, I really regret voting for Dan Malloy. I think we are in a state right now where you have a governor who is telling people so many things that just don't make any sense. He's giving people a deal where I'm going to raise your taxes by $2 billion, and it's just going to stay that high forever. In 1 year, out of that, I'll give you $55. Doesn't sound like much of a deal for people. This is a guy who says he's cut spending every year, but spending's actually gone up by $2 billion. Point being, we're on the precipice of really being able to do something special as Republicans, and I believe Tom Foley's the guy that can do it. Tom is earnest in his belief that this state can be fixed and can be turned around, and it's just going to take the hard work and dedication of all the people in this room going out and talking to all their friends, all their neighbors, and all their relatives, and making sure that they know what's at stake and that we can do this together. So I thank you very much. I haven't heard the horn go off yet. Have a good night. Thank you very much.
My name is Dave Walker. I live in Bridgeport, Connecticut. My family came to this country in the 1600s, and yet I'm only the second person in my direct line to graduate from college. My dad was the first. I have 40 years of professional experience, 20 in the private sector, 15 in the federal government, 5 in the not-for-profit sector. I was a Reagan presidential appointee, Bush 41 presidential appointee, and Bill Clinton appointed me as Comptroller General of the United States, which is Auditor General, Chief Accountability Officer. As I said, I've turned around organizations in the federal government, I've turned around organizations in the private sector, and that's what Connecticut needs. It needs a turnaround. It ranks 50 or near the bottom in virtually every statistic dealing with economics, dealing with jobs, and dealing with competitiveness. For example, we're number 50 in economic growth. We're number 50 in total liabilities and unfunded promises per taxpayer. And we're the only state in the union that hasn't added one net new private sector job since 1990. I'm a turnaround specialist. I'm the best candidate for lieutenant governor for several reasons. One, look at the palm card. I would respectfully suggest that I'm the best qualified. I've run executive branch agencies and legislative branch agencies, and the lieutenant governor job spans both. Secondly, I've got the credentials, the communication skills, and the credibility to take on anybody on the other side of the aisle and make our case. Thirdly, I'm an expert in taxes, and we need tax reform. Among other things, I'm a CPA. I'm also an expert in retirement programs, pension and health, and we've got to restructure our pension and health programs. And I'm also an expert in the organization and operations of government, and we have to deal with that. I might note that this is the hometown of Nathan Hale, and I'm right next door, and I'm a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, as well as a CPA, so that means I'm a patriot who knows math. And I gotta tell you, we don't have any in Hartford right now. We need one. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Emil Igbenago. I'm not a candidate. I'm here on behalf of Penny Bakirki, who is running for Lieutenant Governor. The reason why I would like to vote for Penny is because Penny has been a state rep for the past 12 years. She has represented the towns of Stafford and Somers. Penny is Penny is a hardworking Republican. She's worked for the Republican for quite some time. Penny is a small business owner. Penny is a very good candidate. She's gone across the state for the past 1 year. And she's talked to a lot of people, a lot of Republicans. She's raised money, and I would urge you to look at her records. I'm here tonight to thank you all. She couldn't be here tonight, and she wants to extend that greetings to Joan, Will, and the town of the Republican town of Coventry. Thank you very much.